I almost got married once. There were no two souls more in rhythm than Wentworth and I.
In Carrie Cracknell's film Persuasion, based on the early 19th century novel by Jane Austen, Dakota Johnson plays Anne Elliot, a young woman from an aristocratic family who was once persuaded to break off her engagement to a young naval officer due to his lack of status and money. 8 years later, she's still pining for him.
It's been 7 years.
8.
Darling, at some point, you have to move on.
Many traditionalist Austen fans describe the latest flick as a parody, appealing to millennials who, they argue, have never read her classics. Others, such as Timothy Irwin, an Austen expert at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, say modern adaptations such as the latest Persuasion have merit, incorporating contemporary language and modern sensibilities into Austen's timeless classics. He points to the film's multiracial cast depicting 18th century English aristocracy.
I appreciate the fact that a more diverse audience, through a greater variety of formats, is being given access to some of the most wonderful, creative, vivid literature available in English. That's got to be a good thing.
Perfect.
Gillian Davis of the Pemberley podcast thinks Austen would appreciate the different renditions of her works.
In many ways, Jane Austen was the first modern romance novelist because, the book and sort of fiction landscape when she was alive at the time was really mostly skewed towards men, and there weren't a ton of books written from a female point of view. It was really radical to just show women pursuing a happily ever after and getting it. That just didn't exist back then.
Podcaster Molly Burdick and producer Graham Cook of Pod and Prejudice say during the pandemic, Austen has been more relatable than ever.
You had to first start out messaging, then FaceTime dates, which would be the equivalent of
writing a letter to them.
You literally were writing letters.
Going for walks in public parks.
So many walks.
Touching.
You're 6 feet apart at all times. You can't touch until marriage. So it really became, I feel a lot more relevant.
Irwin says film has always served Austen's legacy. Acclaimed Austen adaptations, such as the 1995 BBC production of Persuasion and 2005 Pride and Prejudice by filmmaker Joe Wright, helped catapult her fame to new heights, despite their condensed format, while 21st century film renditions of her stories, he says, may bring millennials to the Austen books. Or maybe not.
Maybe they don't go to the books, and maybe they just explore other film adaptations or other TV shows. If anything, it opens it up to female writers, and Persuasion was directed by a woman too.
It all speaks to Jane Austen's timelessness. Penelope Pulu, VOA News, Washington.